junior defensive end, Terrence Fide. We're taking on the Toreros. I don't even know what a Torero is. And you're now watching the Mariners Football Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final episode of the Mariners Football Network weekly pregame show. I'm Matt Suter. The man to my left is Mike Quinn. On the other side of the camera is Rachel Blair and Amanda Mastroberti, and Phil Torino joins us in just a little bit. This week, Mike and I discuss Mariners' win over Valparaiso last Saturday. Then we take a look at an interview with seniors Kevin Pauly and Kevin Fitzpatrick that was down in the McCann Center. Then we're joined in studio by Terrence Fide. And at the end of the show, Mike and I discuss the upcoming game this week against the San Diego Toreros. This past week, Mariners defeated the Valparaiso Crusaders 30-7 on Senior Day at Tenney Stadium. Senior Calvin McCoy led Mariners with 114 rushing yards, while on the flip side, Tommy Riley and Kevin Fitzpatrick both hooked up for 2 touchdown passes. The win helped Mariners improve to 4-6 overall and 3-4 in the PFL, while the loss continued a 28-game losing streak for the Valparaiso Crusaders. Mike, what went right for Mariners against Valparaiso?
Well, I think all the seniors played very well. Tommy Riley went 11 for 17 for 134 yards and those 2 touchdowns that you mentioned. And also Calvin had a great game, breaking 100 yards for the first time this season. And then we had Ryan Cronin on the defense, led the team with 8 tackles. 3 of them were for a loss. 1 of them was for a sack, so they were able to shut down the Valparaiso offense very well. I thought it was great that head coach Jim Parry also got some other seniors into the game that we don't really see very often. One of them was Matt Gray, who got 9 touches for 29 yards, and also quarterback Michael Gentili went 4 for 6 and got over 40 yards passing. So it was great that Coach Parry was able to get a lot of guys into the game. And, of course, on the defensive side of the ball, Coach Rumsey uses everybody to begin with. So we saw a lot of, 110 guys that played for the Red Foxes.
Speaking about those seniors, earlier in the week, we were joined by Kevin Pauly and Kevin Fitzpatrick, 2 seniors down at the McCann Center. Let's take a look at that right now.
Kevin Pauly is a fifth-year player, and Kevin Fitzpatrick is a senior. The two of you have played your final game at Tenney Stadium at Leon Adolph Field in front of the Mariners College faithful. What was the experience like playing your last home game?
Well, it was a great way to go out. We beat them 30-7. It was pretty much a blowout the whole game, and everyone got to play, which was great. It was just a lot of fun in front of a good crowd, and I couldn't think of a better way to go out, really.
Yeah, just like Kev said, in front of a great crowd, in front of a bunch of seniors' families, parents. It's just an awesome way to go out. These are people that you fight with and go to battle with every day for the last 4 years, and to go out like that was awesome.
And now looking ahead to this week's matchup against the San Diego Toreros, I know this is early in your week of preparation, but what do the two of you know about San Diego?
Well, this is the 4th time that I've been playing them. Or 5th time actually, and each year it seems to get more and more competitive. Each game gets closer. In the last 2 years, really I thought that we had them. We should have won those games. Just certain things, didn't go our way. I feel more confident each year playing them, and I think this year we've got a solid team, and I think we're going to go in with a lot of momentum from this win that we just had, and I think we're going to beat them this year.
Just like Kev said, it's been real close. It's been getting closer year to year, so I definitely think this is the year that we take them. Valpo was a great finish at home, but this is the true finisher for myself and Kevin as well.
And for both of you, actually, how about the chance to get out of this New York weather? It has been warm today, but recently we've seen some snow during the Halloween weekend. You guys will be getting out to the West Coast now. Are you excited about that?
I'm very excited. I love playing in San Diego. It's my 4th trip out there. The weather's always great, and it'll be real nice. It's kind of like a vacation. You can't think of it that way, but physically, it's nice to be able to play in warm weather.
Yeah, it'll be awesome to play out there. It's funny because the weather's just getting nice here, but now it'll definitely be awesome playing over there in San Diego, and we get a couple of days out there, so that's good as far as preparation goes.
And now, Kevin Pauly, for you, talking a bit about your position responsibilities. We don't get the chance to really speak with special teams players that often. We have had Jason Myers on. How do you think the punting has gone this season?
Actually, it's been a bit of a disappointment for myself because, we're toward the bottom of the league right now in net average, and I take some responsibility for that. But I think that this past week we had a great game, and I think we're going to build off that. We're going to finish up strong. And, going from that, I don't know. I think we're just going to end up strong after that game we just had.
And now a wide receiving question for you. We've seen over the past few seasons, Mavericks featuring wide receivers that can stretch the field, and James Lamaki and Michael Rios. But for yourself, you've always been a constant as far as receiving, catching balls week in, week out. Is that a role that you've embraced?
Yeah, definitely it is a role to embrace. I just do whatever the coaches need, really, whether it's a backside hitch or a little slant or whatever the case be. It's not really so much the yardage, it's just more picking up first downs and just keeping the chains moving.
And for the both of you, how about if you comment on the state of the Red Foxes? How do you think the team has competed and performed so far heading into now the last week of the season?
You know, I think it's one of these years where we've been competitive in pretty much every game. We hit some tough breaks in a lot of games. We're a good team, though. We have solid players at every position. And just knowing each week, going each week that we can win every game gives us a lot of confidence. And, you know, really, we could have been a 9-2 team, 8-3 team. It's just the ball bounced the wrong way for us in a couple of games. And each game we go in, we know that we have some of the best players on the field. And we feel that we are the better team in every game we win to. So, you know, really looking forward, we're very confident in the San Diego game, and we feel that we are going to beat them. And we feel good about it.
Definitely, we feel that we are more than competitive in every game. You know, after Sacred Heart, everyone's hyped. We won that. We're expecting more of the same. It didn't go our way, but I think to finish up strong against San Diego would that'd be awesome.
And finally, as part of what we try to do here at the Mavericks Football Network is give all the players that we bring in to speak with us in the studio a chance to talk directly to the fans, a channel to the guys to the fans, I should say, that watch you or listen to the radio every Saturday for the entire season. Tell the fans why they should tune in to the radio broadcast of this matchup against San Diego for the final time of the season.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all the fans for all the support, all the parents that listen in, and even the locals and all the students who listen in. This week's going to be a great game. Each time we play San Diego is a battle, and it really means a lot to our seniors because we haven't beat them yet, and we feel that we really can. And you know, knowing that we have your support really lifts our spirits and makes us play harder. And this week's going to be a great game. You should definitely listen in.
Yeah, definitely, definitely more what Kev said. We've never been able to beat San Diego, so that's the reason why you should tune in, because it's definitely going to be the first. But to the fans, definitely a big thank you, especially coming from a small school like us. Fan support is much needed and much appreciated from the team. So yeah, definitely tune in, and we'll get the first win.
That was seniors Kevin Fitzpatrick and Kevin Pauly down in the McCann Center. And Mike, this year Marist is graduating 17 players from their program. What's the team look like for next season?
I think there's two areas on the field that they really need to look at, and that is the running back core and also the defensive line. They are losing 2/3 of their defensive line in Jimmy Desauteles and David Toriola. David Toriola being the captain on the defense along with Kicklighter. And I think they need to look into a stronger defensive line, see what kind of who's been doing well in practice on defense. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they're losing the combo of Calvin McCoy and Ryan Dennebiel, another captain in Dennebiel, and that's just a lot of leadership that they're losing on the team right now for offense and defense.
Now, one of the players who will be around next year is junior defensive lineman Terrence Fidei. He is joined in studio right now by Phil Torino. Let's send it over to Phil.
Defensive end Terrence Fidei joins us now. And Terrence, thanks so much for slotting us in on a busy Wednesday.
All right, thank you for having me in.
Now, a lot of the players that we've spoken to, a lot of the offensive guys, they've told us, not necessarily on camera, but off camera, that the defensive line is a unit they would try to stay away from in practice. Do you guys have that reputation of being just a nasty unit to three-down linemen?
I mean, we got Dave Torriella up front. We got Jimmy J on the other side. We have Kevin Stark, dear media, and we have Big Cat up front. I mean, we're a pretty aggressive D-line. We like to make our offensive line better, you know, so we do whatever we got to do to, make them better.
Now, how about some of these freshman offensive players that have come in, and not all of them have put on the college football weight yet?
Okay.
They've got to be scared of you guys.
I mean, we're kind of intimidating in effect, but, they're working their hardest to make us better. We're going 100%. We're not going to take it late on them because, if we take it late, we're not going to be able to, transport that to the game. So we got to go hard every time.
speaking of taking something lightly, this upcoming weekend, the San Diego Toreros, this squad is definitely one of the upper echelon PFL teams. They're in the ballpark of a Drake, a Jacksonville, Dayton. What do you expect from San Diego this week?
I mean, we have nothing to lose. They're I think they're tied for first place in the three-way tie. So we have nothing to lose. We're gonna go out there, play our hardest. I know they're a good team. We're a good team. Obviously, we're a good defense. We have a good defense. We're gonna bring everything that we got to the table.
Now, this is still early in your week of preparation for the game, but what in particular does Coach Rumsey have you working on in practice?
I mean, it's like the same thing. Technique, running to the ball. Making plays. We're gonna have a lot of slants. We're gonna be doing a lot of new things. To just make it not too predictable.
Now, the sophomore tailback for San Diego is averaging about 112 rushing yards a game. When you have someone that's been so successful in gaining yards on the ground, do you queue up on that player on almost every play?
I mean, it's important, but we have to there's a lot more aspects to the game. We're the top, I think, for total defense in our conference.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done pretty good with the run defense. So I mean, we're gonna keep doing what we've been doing, but we're gonna focus on them a little bit. But it's not a big deal.
You've tallied up so many sacks getting after the quarterback, but the tackles being second on the team in that figure, how are you able to then make adjustments on the fly during a play to switch from going after the quarterback to whoever has the ball?
That's just simple. Just running to the football. Having pressure by Dave up the middle, which allows the running back to cut either my way or to Jimmy J's way. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. You just got to run to the football.
What do you think about the defensive line looking forward to the future? Losing Toriola and Desatel, how does that leave the down linemen?
I mean, we have a couple good freshmen. We have good backups. As a D line, we're always rotating a lot. So everybody's got that experience. So I mean, they're gonna be a big loss, but we're gonna keep working our way back up.
Can you speak to the quality of players that you've seen in the incoming freshman classes? And the reason I ask that question is during your freshman year, a student assistant on the team actually mentioned to me, thinking about you in particular, this is simply the type of athlete that we haven't gotten here before, Matt. Your long frame, really great athleticism on the edge. Do you see players in a similar mold coming in year after year?
Yeah, we have Diomede, Steve Diomede, and we have freshman Demetrius Williams. They're pretty good athletes, So, I mean, they're gonna be competing for a spot, but I feel like with their athleticism, we're gonna be good still.
Certainly, plenty for Red Fox fans to keep an eye on. There's some exciting things for the defensive line. But Terrence, really, thank you very much for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And best of luck to you and the rest of the squad this upcoming Saturday against the San Diego Toreros. Back to you, Matt.
That was Junior Terrence today with our own Phil Trino. Now, Mike, let's turn to this week's matchup with the San Diego Toreros, who are 7-2 overall and 5-1 in the PFL. Does an emotional win on Senior Day carry over to this week for the Red Foxes, or is that in the past and do they have to move on?
I think it absolutely carries into the next week. I think that they're going to have a stronger, better practice because they have the momentum coming right out of the game. The thing that scares me about the game against San Diego is that they have had 10 to 11 straight weeks of football. They haven't had a bye week, which a lot of teams in the PFL have. So they're a very tired team right now. They haven't gotten those 3-4 days off like you usually see during a bye week, which they probably really need right now going up against a tough team like San Diego. But I feel like the momentum from the win over Valparaiso will help them through practice this week and to that trip to San Diego.
Now, focusing in on the San Diego offense, Kenny James, a sophomore running back for the Toreros, is the only player in the PFL to average over 100 rushing yards per game at 112. How does Maris stop him?
I think they need to go back to the Campbell game and look at the tape and learn from that because they gave him 285 rushing yards to Campbell in that game. They need to go back to that tape. And you know what? In Coach Rumsey, we trust because he is great, not only playing throughout the week, but also playing at halftime. The Marist Red Foxes in the first half have given up 168 points defensively, but then they go into the locker room, and then in the second half, they only give up 75 points. So you can really see Coach Rumsey does a very good job at halftime, going through those halftime adjustments and figuring out how to slow down or stop the defense that they're playing that week. So I think they need to have a lot of trust in their head coach, their associate head coach.
Now, on the flip side of the football, the Marist rushing game broke out last week for a season-high 195 rushing yards, led by the aforementioned Calvin McCoy. Is that something that Marist can continue this week, or was that more of a factor of how bad of a team Valparaiso is?
I think it's a little bit of everything that they've worked on with the running game coming to a high point for the season. with a mix of Valparaiso's defense not being that good. San Diego has the 5th best rushing defense in the PFL, so I think we're going to see a good rushing game for the Red Foxes, but we're not going to see, the close to 200 yards that we saw last week against Valparaiso.
Now, entering this final game of the season, Marist is 4-6 overall. How big of a difference is it for the Red Foxes at this point to go in at end the season at 4-7 or at 5-6?
I think 5-6 would be worlds better than 4-7 because number 5 would be San Diego, and that would give the momentum into spring ball. It would give the momentum into camp, saying, you know what, we finished the season strong. We learned a lot last season. We had a lot of mistakes through turnovers and mental errors on the field. So I think that would be a great way to end the season, go into spring ball, go into camp next year, and then be ready for next season.
So that does it for us here at the Marist Football Network, the final weekly pregame show. Since this is our last show, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank a whole bunch of people and departments who have helped us along the way throughout this semester. First and foremost, the Marist College football players and coaching staff, and in particular, Coach Tunde Agboke, who has helped us coordinate all of those interviews with the players and coaches. Then there's Mike Ferraro, the sports information director for the college, and his whole sports information department, as they have helped us with a lot of information, giving us press passes to allow us to do our on-field pregame shows. Next, there's Darren McCormick, who's the head of facilities for the Marist Athletic Department. We'd like to thank him and his entire game day staff for all the help that they have provided us in terms of setting up for those Saturday morning shoots. Next, there's Bobby Sutelatachi, who really helped us reach out to the Marist football alumni, to get in touch with them. There's Jack Ebert, who's the Assistant Vice President of Advancement for Marist College. We'd like to thank the Marist College Media Center for letting us use all of their equipment in studio every week. And last but not least, we'd like to thank our professor, Dr. Lynn Lepre, who has really helped us out in terms of guiding us along for this entire semester. This is a project that has never really been attempted before, and we weren't really sure what we were getting ourselves into when we began the project. But we do not believe that we would have been successful in this venture had it not been for the help of all those individuals and departments that I just listed. On behalf of my entire group, I'd like to say that we really enjoyed this experience and that this was something that we all can say was certainly a positive one, and we're sad to see it come to an end. But just because this is our last weekly pregame show does not mean that we are done producing content for this season in the upcoming weeks. Check us out online at www.maristfootballnetwork.com, and you can also keep up to date with us on Twitter at MaristFN. So for the last time here at the Marist Football Network, for Phil Trino, Rachel Blair, Amanda Mastroberti, he's Mike Quinn, I'm Matt Suter. Thanks for tuning in. Marist closes out its season at 4 p.m. Eastern at San Diego on Saturday.